I think this subject has been around quite a bit,
Right.
but I don't believe you can talk about your feelings
Okay.
and get them out until you've addressed this specific issue.
Oh.
And that is the victim mode.
Ooh la la. Victim mode. Yeah, well, it
What
feels
is a
like
victim
victim mode equals natural mode. A lot
Yeah.
of people operate in victim mode. I feel like, you know what I love about victim mode, being there myself for many years, victim mode allows you to not take ownership or responsibility for what happened to you. And I feel like that's maybe the thing that's the worst part of it. Victim mode allows you to be able to say, but they did, and he did, and she did, and all of that. Victim mode never turns the finger and says, and what was your contribution in it? You completely free from that part. So victim mode, yeah, is basically just a way in which you actually avoiding yourself and your own truth.
I get that, but you know, so I watch a lot of American TV, and you will see that someone will be arrested, and then someone else will say, well, you know, I was a victim of the crime. And
Yes.
so the word victim,
Yeah.
is it about the word? Because the thing is that when is a person really a victim versus when do they actually use the label
Yeah.
beyond itself that or used by that? Does
Sure, I get you, but just you saying that immediately got to me in the sense of I have this belief that as we have victim mode, we have creator mode, and we're all creators. So in essence, I almost want to start having that conversation with you in the sense of, but how can we ever be victims of anything if victims or if creation is our own? In essence, anything that happens to us is what we've created within ourselves, whether that was by choice, whether that was through circumstances. In essence, when something happens to us, it happens to us because we've allowed it. Now, you can say, well, I didn't have the confidence to speak up. I was frozen cold and I couldn't shout, no, don't do that. Or whatever the situation might be. So in essence, that's a very, it's a tricky situation in the sense of nothing can really happen to you without your permission, without you allowing it. So yes, then I'm almost throwing the question back to you. So how do you see victim?
it's a difficult thing because a victim as an individual has a right to say this terrible thing has happened to me. And we've labeled that feeling as the person being a victim. Rather than this terrible thing has happened to me and I feel this way about it.
I get you.
And so what happens is they get locked into
Yes.
the victimhood. And I find that, you know, where people tend to create shrines or and the person gets so stuck in the victimhood that there's never really any moving through it and moving beyond it.
I get you.
And victim almost becomes a tattoo, a permanent
Yes.
statement, rather than this was part of my journey of self-discovery. I chose this experience on some level.
Yeah.
I don't know how, maybe by
Exactly.
incarnating in the family that
Yeah.
I chose.
Yeah.
And this is the pattern that we
Yes.
are working through.
Yes.
But that I actually, it happened, it was sore,
Yeah.
I cleared it, and now I'm ready to move on. But my status of victimhood is a cloak that I now have to carry.
But
That
is
can
it
be
really
quite
that?
heavy.
I get you, but is it really that you have to carry that cloak of victimhood? Because if you acknowledge, or if you get to a place of understanding what your experience was about what happened to you,
Yes.
why would you still have to hold on to a cloak of victimhood?
Well, think about the Me Too campaign. You know,
Okay.
everybody came out and said Me Too. And there
Yes.
were a lot of people in that moment that were shamed for not coming out to Me Too.
All right.
Where they felt that I've dealt with it.
I get you.
I've moved through it. I've acknowledged it. I've faced whoever, whatever
Needed
happened.
to be faced.
And it's no longer me.
I get you.
So I don't have to say Me Too anymore.
So what I'm hearing you say is almost like when you've worked through whatever happened to you, you also need to allow people that is still working through it, that maybe wants you to become be part of this circle of we have been victimed through whatever happened to us, that if they have healed that part for them, that we can allow them to not have to regurgitate that energy.
And that there's not, it's a collective wound.
Yes.
We don't have to support the collective wound. That doesn't mean that we're judging those people for having the pain.
Not at all.
But that it's okay for us to set ourselves free and to actually move past that.
Absolutely.
And it's not about forgetting it. It's about the person I was in that moment.
Yes.
I am no longer that person. I have grown and emerged into something different through the levels of acceptance, understanding, forgiveness, or whatever you've decided to bring on your path.
So I'm going to bring you back to the statement you made. Is it then necessary for you to wear a victim cloak?
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's okay not to.
Absolutely. I think it's when you are ready and at a time, and when that experience served what it needed to serve for you, and you've gained all the knowledge and insight in the sense of what the experience was the facilitator of for the creation of yourself, you can literally let that cloak go. I feel like you're wearing the cloak not because of what happened to you. You're wearing the cloak because of what, for a moment, you are held in the experience. And so the victim cloak can almost be like you being reminded of what you went through. But as you are going and processing through that experience, it's almost like it turns to dust and it leaves you completely.
But not just you.
No,
it's your support group.
Absolutely.
It's the place you belong.
Yes.
Think about people from military. They come back, they have to follow the military support system.
Yes.
What if they don't want to anymore?
Absolutely.
What if they've moved beyond that? And the society still wants to drag them in and thank you for your service. And they say, no,
I don't want to be framed in that way.
Been there. I want to grow my hair long.
Yes.
You know, this is who I now am. And that sometimes the status of victimhood is not actually projected by the individual.
Yes.
But it's about the family who have unresolved issues around what happened to that person, and they haven't dealt. They haven't got their feelings out. They haven't sorted that out.
Yes.
And as a result, what happens is the victim is then victim of them.
Absolutely. But that's why I also feel like it's really important that once you have taken out of the experience what you needed, that you allow yourself that sense of freedom that says, okay, if you're still there, if you still need to mourn that, talk about that, bring it back again, that you don't feel any responsibility to the collective, to the people.
To make them feel better.
Absolutely. But that you can say, I get that's where you are in your process, in your journey. I love that for you. But what my part was in that, I believed I had to serve, I've done and dealt with. Not just for myself, but evaluating who I could still be for you, those that are still in it, and realizing there is no contribution that I can make it. Because the moment, what I love about that is the moment that you stay for others, what have you done just to yourself there? In that moment, you've just abandoned what that experience had to serve you with.
Yes, the growth.
Exactly. You're regressing now. You're almost going back, not for yourself, but you're going back for others. And I feel like that takes a great sense of maturity and inner freedom within yourself in order to realize, like, you know what, this experience is done for me. This experience has now served what I have
and
to take away.
I'm not defining myself.
Absolutely. And I'm respecting the fact that you still choose to be within this dynamic, but I can literally walk out now, out of this experience, and I almost want to say, bless you for being where you are, but realizing that that's now your process. It's no longer my process.
Once again, it's sometimes the wave beyond what has happened.
Yes.
It's not what happened to the person, but it's what happened to the others who witnessed that event that often doesn't get dealt with.
I get you. And I feel like sometimes people, especially when they've got to the point where they have the realization as to what this experience had to teach them about themselves, and maybe about the collective as well, I feel like humanity sometimes feel that responsibility of having to go back and have to stand. I'm going to hold the space with you now so that you can get where I'm getting.
It's my fault.
There we go. But what if they choose to be there for another 10 years and you're done now? Then you're going to hold space for 10 years. And here's the thing. You're going to get resentful for the fact that you're holding space, but they're not clicking what they need to click. And that's where I feel like even when we have collective experiences, you have to remember the responsibility of the individual as well, and not dishonor and disown the responsibility, the opportunity, I want to say, for the individual as well. But what I love what you showed and what you brought forward is the fact that it's not just about the individual, it's about the collective as well, and the wave and the ripple that comes from that. Yes, absolutely.